Hello and welcome to this very special Wrestle Talk reaction video. I'm Ollie Davis and I have just watched New Japan's Dominion show and I'm here to talk about the main event of Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega, which is now tied as my personal favourite match ever. It's the best match I've ever seen, and funnily enough, it's tied with the same two guys having a very long match last year at the same show, Dominion, where they went 60 minutes in a time limit draw. That was the last time Omega fought for the heavyweight title. Since then, Okada's had successful title defense after successful title defense. When he fought Tanahashi last, he surpassed Tanahashi's record of most consecutive title defenses, and here he is going against Omega, who's had his own travails to go through. He's had to break up the Bullet Club. He's united with his best friend, Kota Ibushi. He's had to sort of break up the Elite as well by not turning on the Young Bucks, but with all the Bullet Club drama, he's left them behind and they've kind of fallen in with Cody Rhodes. Just to show how much that went into this story. If you're like, a New Japan match, I'm not really into the idea of a 60-minute plus wrestling encounter, or if you don't think or if you think Omega and Okada and all this stuff is overblown, just watch Kenny Omega's prologue intro video. So not the hype package that New Japan have made, because, bless them, their hype packages aren't very good. WWE, for all their faults, do video package better than anyone in the world. New Japan sort of go for a cheesy, dramatic anime thing, which is perfectly fine, and I enjoy it, but it doesn't really get you amped up in the same way. But before Kenny comes out, there's a video clip that plays on screen, and this is similar to what he did for his Wrestle Kingdom 11 entrance against Okada when they had that first 6-star match. And he's the Terminator, and he materializes outside just in a street, and he turns up in the arena and in the Korakuen Hall, was it? I can't remember where it was. As with his Terminator gear on, so he's got like a visor. But here, Omega is walking along in a black suit. This is the video intro thing now, the prologue, if you will, and he's all in a black suit, and he starts to shake his head because he's getting these flashback memories of when Okada beat him last year, and when he went to that time limit draw, but then when he beat Okada in the G1 to make it 1-1-1 in their series, 1 win apiece and 1 draw, and then he gets these other flashbacks and he's shaking his head, and it's the way the Bullet Club imploded, how Cody wormed his way in there, how he had to get rid of the Young Bucks, and he's walking along like, what can I do? And then a little flaming feather, it looks like, falls in front of him and just falls onto the floor, and he looks down at it, and he looks up, and there's a wide shot to reveal the screen is kind of cut in two, black on one side with Omega in his black suit, and on the other side is all in white, really, with Kota Ibushi in a white suit, looking very Naito, and loads of feathers on the floor. And it's kind of playing into that angel thing, that Kota Ibushi is Kenny Omega's guardian angel. He finishes the one-winged angel. There's so much poetic symmetry here. It is so satisfying to watch play out. And Ibushi asks him, have you prepared? Because you know what's to come. It's this big match, but it's a lot more dramatic than my rendition of it is. And Kenny goes, yes, I have. And Ibushi says, what did it cost? And then Omega thinks for a moment, and then they show the Bullet Club logo disintegrating, Infinity War style. And this is all a play on Thanos' bit with Gamora, or Baby Gamora, at the end of the movie. Slight spoilers? And Omega just looks back at Ibushi and says, everything. And at that point, Kenny Omega always talks about he has a certain style of way he wants to tell stories through wrestling. And I thought at that moment from that prologue, if this is what his version is, I'm, pun intended, all freaking in. Because this is how I would tell stories in wrestling. And it's not gimmicky, it's not cheesy. Jim Cornette can blow a gasket on how that adding those kind of elements to it takes away from the drama or the realism. But to me, I know wrestling is predetermined. I think that cat's out the bag. So why not embrace it full hog? Maybe not to the Matt Hardy extremes, but certainly here, this is Marvel Cinematic Universe levels of drawn out storytelling. And it really is, there are similarities here. And I was kind of telling my girlfriend this last night when I was really excited about watching the match today. And I was like, this is a really privileged time to be living through. It's like what I imagine when people saw the first Star Wars movie, when that came out in 1977, and they're like, this has changed the game. This has changed the way movies have been made, and it's changed the way popular culture is going to act on from this point forth. Or the MCU, I strongly believe that when we look back on this period, our kids are going to be saying to us, or the next generation, wow, you got to watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies come out in the cinema. You got to watch the way stories are told in the mainstream change. And this is just as important. Okada and Omega have brought the wrestling medium as an art form and a storytelling medium to the next level. People mock Dave Meltzer for giving that match 6 stars, and there's an argument against it. So he gave their first encounter 6 stars, the second one was 6 1/4, that's my personal favourite match of all time, and the G1 one was maybe 5.75, I can't remember, but average of 6. The reason he's given that is because it's because of that levelling up process. Personally, I would say you keep it at 5 stars and just say, hey, look, this is the new level. This is what a 5-star match is now, because then it kind of undermines it. However, this really is the new benchmark of wrestling storytelling, because it's not just telling a story. It's not just incredible action and spots and just superb technical wrestling. It is not just fantastic ring psychology and having the crowd and me in the palm of your hand while I'm jumping up and down. It's not just acting. The acting performances from both these men, not just in hitting moves and selling moves, but oh my God, Omega's selling is probably the best I've ever seen. It's Enzo Amore levels of great selling. It was a bit facetious, but I do actually think Enzo Amore is a very good seller. And near the end of the match, because they go, I don't know the exact time, I've literally just finished it, probably around 65 minutes, maybe 70. They are so tired at the end, and they are so good that they can make wrestling look sloppy, but you're like, well, that's intentional. They're both just so tired. It's planned sloppiness, which must be really difficult to pull off if you're as good as you are. And when they're both just trying to use each other to get themselves up, just to get that edge on the other guy, falling over in each other's moves. One of the best spots is when Okada hits a Rainmaker on Omega. So again, Okada hits a Rainmaker on Kenny, and Okada just falls down on the impact. He doesn't have any strength behind it, just falls backwards. And that, again, has the poetic symmetry of their Dominion match last year, when Okada goes for the Rainmaker, but Omega faints and the arm goes over it. It looks like he counters it, but it's just because he passes out. And it looks like Omega counters it here, but he hasn't. It's Okada passing out. And I mean, it's a... that old adage, that old wrestling chant, fight forever? They freaking did. I've never made more notes for a match. And I'm looking through them, I put timestamps in, so 20 minutes in. That flew by, that's my note. And then probably a page of notes, 25 minutes. So it's just something else. I don't really know how to dissect it, because but me and Luke will probably have a Wrestle Ramble bonus episode up on Monday where we can talk about it a bit more in depth and go through these notes. But it is just incredible, and spoilers, look away now, because I'm going to say who won. Kenny Omega. And it's the right result, with the Young Bucks winning earlier in the night. And the Young Bucks come out at the end, and they all embrace. With the Young Bucks won the IWGP Heavyweight Tag titles. They've just moved up to the division from the Junior Heavyweights. On the first time of asking, and Ibushi's there in the ring, they all embrace, and they're crying tears. And there's something wrong with my house at the moment, an issue with condensation, because it felt like there was a few bits in my eyes too. But I have no doubt that those tears were real, because that is just 18 months of hard work and people being at the top of their game physically. It is just a delight to watch people be the best in the world at what they do. And that's what we've just seen. It is historic. It is a milestone for the art form that we all love. It's the best match I've ever seen. Asterix. Tied. Yeah, so I'm going to say it's 5 stars. Of course, I gave Gargano and Almas 5 stars in January, but it's like, that 5 stars doesn't now mean as much as this 5 stars. Also, in other news, just before I get out of here, Chris Jericho's the Intercontinental Champion now. So he beat Naito in a bloody brawl. Really fun stuff. Where the crowd turned on Naito because Jericho did nothing to endear himself to the fans. He was like an out-and-out heel, but he was a heel very well, and I think people cheered him because of that. An absolutely astounding last 3 matches. There's that Jericho-Naito match was kind of the co-main event. And there was the Ospreay-Takahashi match as well for the junior heavyweight title, which was extraordinary. I thought that was better than the Best of the Super Juniors final against Ishimori. But please, I cannot implore you enough to go and check out these matches, particularly Omega and Okada. If you've only watched WWE and you haven't really taken the plunge into Japanese wrestling, I mean, maybe this is too much because it's a 65-minute match, the culmination of a 1.5-year long story. But for me, there's nothing better. This is a good day for professional wrestling. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was historic.